The year is 1896, and we find ourselves in Santa Cruz. Edie and her parents have gone to visit the carnival held on the Santa Cruz Beach boardwalk. It's her birthday, so her father is trying to win everything for her. Her parents split up for a moment. Her mother heads to the bathroom, and her father gets engrossed in some game, leaving Edie to explore on her own. Curiosity getting the better of her, Edie sets off on her own little adventure. She passes a man carrying a placard of Jeremiah 1:11 and later strolls towards the beach adjoining the carnival. She walks alone into an enchanting funhouse. As she walks in, the lights flicker, and without warning, the room is plunged into darkness. Lost in the darkness, Edie finds herself in a maze of mirrors, a house of reflections. Her every step seems uncertain, but a dim light coming from a corner brings a ray of hope. Suddenly, Edie sees a glimpse of someone in the mirror, but it is not her reflection, but another girl who looks exactly like her doppelganger. In the present day, a family of 4 embarks on a road trip to Santa Cruz. Edie, now a grown woman and mother of 2 children, Zora and Jason, leads the way. After a long and eventful journey, they finally reach their destination, Edie's childhood home. As the family gathers for lunch, Edie's husband, Gabe Wilson, eagerly suggests visiting the Santa Cruz Beach boardwalk. However, Edie harbors a haunting memory from her past, an unforgettable night spent at a funhouse that left a profound impact on her life. The encounter shook her to the core, causing her to go silent for a while. She hesitates, not wanting to revisit that place, filled with fear and uneasiness. But Gabe persuades her with his charming charm. Their car ride is filled with laughter and bubbly banter, with Zora joking lightly about Jason's magical fire ring. Yet, in the midst of their happy atmosphere, a sudden commotion catches their attention. Paramedics rush past, carrying the lifeless body of an elderly man, holding a placard that reads Jeremiah 11:11. This is the man from Edie's past. Finally arriving at the beach, the family is greeted by their friends, Tyler, Josh, Kitty, and their twin daughters. As the adults settle down chatting, Jason goes to the bathroom alone. However, on his way back, he sees a man who bears an uncanny resemblance to the dead stranger they encountered. His hands are covered in blood. Suddenly, Edie realizes that Jason is missing and frantically searches for him. Eventually, she finds the little boy and heaves a sigh of relief. After that, the family hurries back home, and Eddie decides to leave. At night, Eddie tells Gabe about his frightening encounter with his childhood look-alike. However, Gabe, skeptical as ever, doesn't believe his unsettling story. Just then, the lights suddenly go out, and the room is plunged into darkness. Suddenly, Jason barges into the room and immediately informs his parents about a family standing mysteriously in their driveway. To investigate, they approach the window and see a family of 4 standing in the cold night. Their presence is both incomprehensible and terrifying. Zora, who also comes out of her room, is shocked to see the strange sight. Eddie, in a state of fear, panics and calls the police. Meanwhile, Gabe takes it upon himself to confront the strange family and politely asks them to leave their premises. He is surprised to find the family silent, still as statues. Sensing danger, Gabe arms himself with a baseball bat and heads outside again. Their slow advance toward him triggers an instinctive fight-or-flight response. Fearing for his safety, he goes inside, locking the doors behind him. Despite efforts to secure their home, the unnamed family finds a hidden key. As their lookalikes emerge from the shadows, they realize they are facing their own distorted mirrors. Helpless, they are forced to sit in front of their lookalikes. Of these lookalikes, Jason's lookalike, Pluto, displays a disturbing interest in fire. Zora's lookalike, known as Ambre, has a sadistic nature, while Abraham plays Gabe's lookalike. The leader of this sinister group is none other than Eddie's lookalike, Red. She stands aside, the only one able to speak, her voice hoarse. Soon, Red explains that they are shadow-like versions of themselves. Led by their leader Red, The bound ones yearn to be free from their entangled existence. Red, once known as Eddie's shadow, shares a heartbreaking story about their intertwined past. In this story, Eddie enjoyed a comfortable life, enjoying warm, delicious food. But Red had nothing but raw, bloody rabbits to keep herself alive. While Eddie played with soft, huggable toys, Red's toys were sharp and icy to the touch. Eddie found love in the arms of her loving Prince Gabe, while Red was forced to marry Abraham, a demon. Their paths were further separated when Eddie gave birth to a lovely daughter named Zora, while Red gave birth to a ruthless demon named Umbra. To make matters worse, after telling the story, she forces Eddie to handcuff her to the table. Meanwhile, Abraham forcibly drags Gabe into another room, and Ambre chases Zora through deserted streets. Meanwhile, Pluto forces Jason to engage in a kinky game inside the closet. This is where Jason gets his first glimpse of Pluto's scarred face. Meanwhile, Zora becomes the target of Ambre's relentless pursuit. As Ambre lifts the scissors to stab him, a man interrupts. Zora takes advantage of the opportunity and runs away, leaving Ambre to brutally stab the stranger to death. On the other hand, Abraham violently attacks Gabe, knocking him unconscious. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Abraham locks Gabe in a garbage bag and plans to throw him in a boat. Thankfully, Gabe wakes up in time and uses the boat. Stopping, he emerges from the bag and hits Abraham hard with a baseball bat, knocking him overboard. However, as the boat suddenly reverses course, Gabe falls overboard as well. He resurfaces just in time and climbs aboard the boat, but his relief is short-lived as Abraham suddenly attacks from behind. Gabe pushes him into the water and eventually kills him. With renewed determination, Gabe drives the boat back to the Wilson house. Meanwhile, Jason discovers that Pluto strangely mimics his every move. He plans a clever distraction using his fire ring, successfully diverting Pluto's attention. Seizing the opportunity, Jason escapes the room and quickly locks Pluto inside. Red hears the commotion and goes to investigate and promptly frees Eddie from his captivity. Red, in her search, stumbles upon Edie's beloved stuffed toy. Without hesitation, she decapitates it. In the living room, Edie is tied to a table. She is relieved when a fireplace poker appears within reach, and she grabs it to free herself. She finds Jason, and the two escape the house. They find Zora in the Wilson driveway. Now together again, the three head to Gabe's boat, which arrives just in time. Without a second thought, they all board the boat and escape. Meanwhile, the Tyler family is at home, unaware of the horror that awaits them. A sudden noise catches Kitty's attention, and she urges Josh to investigate. Little do they know, their own lookalikes appear and swiftly take their own lives, leaving no way to escape. In the midst of the chaos, the Wilsons arrive on the scene. Hoping to find safety, Edie approaches Josh's lookalike to ask for help. However, when he opens the door for her, she immediately realizes something is very wrong. Reacting instinctively, she strikes the imposter with a fireplace poker. Unfortunately, her attack proves futile, and Edie is dragged away by the others inside the house. Outside, Gabe and the children see the fake Josh figure approaching. Sensing danger, Gabe urges the children to run and distracts Josh. Instead of fleeing, the children try to find their mother. Inside the house, Zora uses a golf club as a weapon. As they climb the stairs, a scream echoes from above, highlighting Edie's anguish. They run to the source and come face to face with the twins' lifeless bodies. Suddenly, one of the twins appears in front of Zora. Showing courage, she strikes a hard blow with the bat, knocking the lookalike off the railing. However, their relief doesn't last long, as the other twin attacks. In a fierce struggle, Zora kills him as well. Meanwhile, Kitty's lookalike has trapped Eddie and tied him to the bed. Outside, Gabe runs after Josh to the boatyard. Determined to protect his family, Gabe shoots Josh with a flare gun, delivering a fatal blow. From the window, Kitty witnesses Josh's death. But before she can breathe, Zora suddenly attacks from behind. Showing agility, Kitty dodges the blow and narrowly escapes. Kitty is ready to strike back at Zora with a pair of scissors, but Jason intervenes and saves Zora from Kitty's attack. With a sharp blow to the head, he incapacitates Kitty. The Wilsons gather in the living room and try to make sense of this horrific situation. The phone lines are jammed, preventing any contact with emergency services. Watching the news, they realize with growing horror that this nightmare is happening everywhere. According to news reports, their lookalikes have emerged from the depths of the sewers. Armed with scissors, these lookalikes lose their will and brutally stab innocent people across the country. After killing their comrades, they form large chains. With the entire country under attack, Edie suggests fleeing to Mexico in hopes of safety. The family quickly leaves the premises without wasting any time, but Edie discovers that the car keys are inside and goes to get them. She is horrified to find that her lookalike, Kitty, is still alive. Before she can react, Kitty attacks her, but she quickly finds the scissors and brutally stabs her, putting an end to her terror. As they walk towards the car, a dark figure appears before them. It is Ambre. Zora, full of determination, tries to hit Ambre with the car, but the lookalike jumps onto the vehicle without any effort. Thinking quickly, Zora slams on the brakes, causing Ambre to crash into a tree, where she meets a gruesome end after hitting a sharp branch. Along the way, the family sees lifeless bodies of unlucky victims everywhere. Their progress is abruptly halted by a burning car on the road. The family is dismayed to discover that the culprit behind the ordeal is none other than Jason's lookalike, Pluto. Thinking quickly, Eddie decides to confront him, while the rest of the family remains safe inside their car. However, Jason soon realizes that Pluto's appearance is a trap designed to set their car on fire. He urges the others to evacuate the car, just as Pluto prepares to light a match. Jason realizes this. He remembers that lookalikes mimic their lookalikes. Actions. He immediately begins walking back to the burning car. Mimicking his every move, Pluto follows him. Slowly but surely, he reaches the blazing car, and in a final twist of fate, is engulfed in flames. Yet Red takes advantage of the opportunity to kidnap Jason. Eddie immediately runs after him to bring back his beloved son. As she looks out over the shoreline, she sees a long line of lookalikes lined up on the beach. Determined, she decides to enter the funhouse, the source of all the problems. She moves through the area and stumbles upon a door that leads somewhere down. Curiosity leads her to open the door, and to her surprise, a rabbit emerges from inside. She finds herself in a corridor with countless rooms on either side. The rabbits have filled the entire place. She explores the rooms, and in one of the rooms, which resembles a classroom, she finds Red. On the blackboard, there is a drawing of a human chain of lookalikes. The project aimed to create clones that would be linked to their human counterparts through their souls. Yet these ambitious experiments failed, resulting in the abandonment of the subterranean systems bound for countless generations. Forced to live mimetic lives, they subsist on a meager diet of rabbit meat, mindlessly mimicking the actions of their counterparts. That night, fate brought Red and Eddie together. From the start, it was clear that Red had something unique, something that set her apart from the others, and so the others recognized her as the leader destined to avenge and replace the humans. After Eddie's meeting with Red, her parents decided to enroll her in a ballet dance class. Little did they know that this artistic pursuit would have an impact on Red as well. She mimics his movements and dances with him, and thus their fight takes the form of a ballet. In a frantic chase, Red runs through the winding corridors, with Eddie close behind, wielding his fireplace poker. Red, armed with scissors, pounces on Eddie. However, Eddie's desperation leads him to strike first and wound Red with the poker. Seeing Red on the verge of death, She plays the same tune that Eddie played when they first met. In a fit of madness, she brutally strangles Red with her handcuffs, breaking his neck. Suddenly, she begins to behave as if she were tied up. Composing herself, she finds Jason huddled inside a locker. Together, they get out and meet the rest of the family. They escape in an ambulance. As Eddie drives off, we travel back in time to the night he first encountered Red. When Edie finds herself face to face with her lookalike, Red, she is strangled to death. She is then dragged and handcuffed to the bed. Red assumes Edie's identity, puts on her clothes, and blends into her real life. Edie's oblivious parents unwittingly bring Red home, thinking she is their daughter. The reason behind Red's hoarse and raspy voice is revealed. She was strangled by her own bound voice, damaging her larynx. Over time, Edie's shadow learns to communicate and evolves into a full-fledged person, capable of experiencing all the complexities of human existence. As Edie, or rather Red, drives off, Jason watches her suspiciously. The film ends with a mile-long human chain of lookalikes.